What does West Ham United mean to you?
Everything. The air that I breathe, the food that I eat, and the drink I drink. West Ham's everything. The early years when my dad was a Spurs supporter, really loved Tottenham, he did. When he died he had the cockerel in his pyjamas, I've documented this in a lot of other things I've done. But because we lived near West Ham and he loved football, we used to take me Tottenham one week, West Ham another, for a few years, and it was a sake of if my mum had known he wasn't keeping his eye on me, she wouldn't have been too happy. And I just used to creep away from my dad at West Ham because I enjoyed going to West Ham more than I did Tottenham, even though Tottenham had a great team, won the double and all that, and they played some great football. They did have a good team, but I used to enjoy going to West Ham more. I just enjoyed the people. It's never been about the board, it's never been about the teams or the managers, it's been about the people. You know, in life you meet a lot of people, and I regard that West Ham, we've had very few arseholes as supporters. We've had a few, but not as many as what some other teams have. But it's always been about the fans. For me, my family. I call them my family. Our first two games were Middlesbrough and Liverpool for the promotion season in '58 when we come up. Middlesbrough away, my old man took me. I don't know. I think he took me up to lose me. You know what I mean? To get rid of me, but it didn't work. But yeah, it was. Don't remember too much about it. I remember the train ride. Train was full of people. You know, and the chanting and that. I was a little kid, I was 5. I was supposed to be home one week, West Ham would be home the next. That's how it worked. They used to do the fixtures like that. Not now where they give you a Saturday, change to a Sunday, then to a Wednesday. Them days football was Saturday, cup games, the cup, like in the early days it wasn't there, but, and replays were on the midweek. My mum was a West Ham fan, yeah. Oh yeah, she was. She come from Mile End Way. She come from Chris Street Market. She lived down there a lot of her life. In the prefabs after the war when they built the prefabs, and then we moved out. And moved out to Allchurch, went to school in Allchurch when I turned up. And it went from there really. I was homeless at 15 years old. My mum had a major operation and she went a bit funny, but a lot of women do suffer this. And she walked home from the hospital at Rush Green and the night dress was covered in blood. She thought she saw somebody killed in the hospital, but I think she was under the influence of the anaesthetic and all that, what she was on. Anyway, when it all ended and she went back to hospital, she turned funny and she tried to stab me and my dad to death. And we managed to get in the spare bedroom, and she was coming through the door like a scene through The Shining with Jack Nicholson. And my dad was crying and he said to me, you got to leave here. He said, she's going to kill you. And I thought about it for 2 or 3 weeks and I wasn't happy. And I left, and at just over nearly 15 years old, I was homeless, stuck on the streets. I used to sleep in Aldgate Cemetery because it was safe. You got to remember, I was big, but I was still only a kid. And it was hard, you know what I mean? I never ever put a cap down and wanted money off of anybody. I always worked. I've always worked. Never took a penny off the country of anything. Anyway, I used to go to Finchley Road Station in the morning, and in them days the labourers used to stand around the station. Builders used to pull up and 3 labourers, and I got chosen by this group of gypsies from Hertfordshire, and I worked for them, and I'd done everything. I mean, I was driving 20-ton lorries at 15 years old, which is unbelievable. And believe me, when you're 15 and you're driving around Trafalgar Square in a 20-ton lorry, it's frightening. But you get used to it. I mean, I'll go back a little bit in time on what I've just told you, and then I'll come back again. When I was a kid at school, I was really bullied at 7 and 8. Terribly bullied at school. I was a little fat ginger kid who used to get it all the time. And I had no confidence, and they sent me to have.
Wasn't boarding school, was it? Or anything like
No, you know, they do the pen in front of you and talk to you. And I from having no confidence, I had a lot of confidence. It was, I didn't think, when I used to come out in these meetings that it worked, but it did work. And I can't remember too much about it, but I was very ill. I got sent away to convalescent in Broadstairs in Kent, in a convent. And I was very young, I remember, but I was very ill. The local authority, which was Havering, then sent me down there. Horrible experience. And then obviously I grew up and I had these problems at home. I left, and that brings me back to where I was. So I used to work for the Gypsies. I used to do tarmacking with them, and I learnt all that sort of stuff. And then they said to me, I was very big for my age. I was very strong. I've always been strong. I would say that in my youth I had 3 times the strength of normal people. Not through working out or nothing, but I was very, very strong. And these jibbos noticed that I was strong and said, why don't you fight? So here I was 15, just into 15 years old. I was 6'1" tall, 12 stone in weight, but I was all muscle. And I had 4 pit fights. And doing a whole 12 foot by 12 foot, you go down in the ladder and you fight each other, and the winner, or the one who yields, the one who wins, gets out of the ladder, he picks his money up. In them days, a professional heavyweight was getting £300 a fight. I was getting £2,000 a fight. But you have to be careful, because if you've got that money in pound notes, somebody might want to take it off you. So I used to make sure that when I had my fights, I used to put my money in my pocket, get back, jump in the lorry and go back, you know, as quick as you can. You can't trust them. They was getting bigger and bigger people to fight me all the time. And I had 4 fights, like I won 4, and I thought I might not win the 5th, so I bowed out. I said, no, I don't fight no more, and I didn't. I had the money, I put some of the money away, I hid some of it, because obviously there's a lot of money in them days, but £10 a week was my wages. And after I finished work, I used to go in the swimming pool, clean myself, wash my clothes, go back to the graveyard where I used to hang the washing from the barrier to on the wall. And in the summer, your clothes dry overnight when they're wet, but in the winter, I'm afraid they don't. So I only had a couple of changes, and a lot of days I used to put my clothes on wringing wet. You want to try it one day, see how it feels? One day, just put your clothes on all wet, like you've been in a bath, and put them on, and I had that for a lot. And I worked for them, and like I say, and in the end I got captured. The social services captured me and put me in care in Hornchurch, where I come from. Forget the name of the road, but the woman in there was, we had no doors. She only had like things that used to go across, shutters sort of thing, and she used to go through your whatever you had, your bits and bobs. And I shared a room with a fella, and his life was not good either. Every Thursday night a bloke used to take him out Morris dancing. Well, I always think Morris dancing is a strange thing anyway, but he used to come home the ladder, and I used to hear him crying. He was a couple of years younger than me. I said, what's the matter? And he said, he did it to me again tonight. And I said, you've got to do something about it. And he went, no, he gives me money. And this boy was so upset, he used to get up and piss on his bed in the night. I used to hear him doing it because he was so frightened of going out to the toilet. And luckily enough, by then I'd had enough of it anyway. And I went home, and it still wasn't good, because my mum and dad never ever got on. And I met my first missus. I was married for 2 years, had a daughter, Kelly, who regrettably is one of the things I regret in my life. I've never stayed in touch with her. I did try, but people have said things to her, and I never really got an opportunity to put my side of the story. But I never cheated on anybody. I was a good dad. And then I met my second wife, Janice. I was with for 10 years, a lovely girl. Loved her to bits, but we couldn't have children. She couldn't have no children. And I wanted family. And I met the girl, and we've now been with her 37 years, and we've got 2 great kids. And I've really found another family. My other family is West Ham, always will be. I never knew till I was, my mum and dad died, that my family were originally, half of them were gypsies. I never knew. And I should have seen the signs, but I never did as a kid. You don't know. I went to school when I did, like everyone else did. But there were certain signs there that I should have looked at, and I didn't see them. And it's I'm not ashamed of it. I'm not ashamed of it one bit. But I just wish they'd have told me. You know what I mean? It was something they kept me, because they was embarrassed because half the family was gypsy, half wasn't, and I should have noticed it on my dad's funeral when they come round, and I had my mum's family in one room, my dad's family in another. Me going between them with the teas and that. And when they said, "Did Bill leave any money?" and I said no, because my dad's name was Bill. I said no, and then within 20 minutes they'd all fucked up and took the carriage clock with them. You know what I mean? So it was I should have seen the signs, and I've always been a bit slow on noticing good and bad, because there are 2 types of people in this world. You've got good people, you've got bad people, and you've got me in the middle. I regard myself as a good person until I'm upset, and then I am a bad person. But I can handle it. I can handle it. It's been difficult. I've had a very difficult life. My life has not been like anyone else's I've ever heard of or told, or nothing like that. I had a lot of psychological problems, because that comes from being on your own when you're 14, 15 years old, and you've got no one, and you've got no one to put their arm around you and tell you they love you. That's never happened to me. I've never had that. I never had the childhood that most of you have had, and my life's been totally different to anything else, and I've had to live that. That's been my life, so I've had to live with it. When I was homeless, I used to exist for 6 days to go and live for the 1 day at football. That's how it was with me. I used to meet my friends, and the generations that I used to go with people then that are then gone with their children, and now their children are coming with me. So it's lasted years where I've stayed friends with people. Sometimes we don't see each other for 30 years, and then we meet up, and it's been like we met yesterday. And that's the friendships I've kept, and you get friendships through loyalty, and loyalty's like respect and honour. You don't get given it. Nobody gives it to you. Nobody gives you respect. You have to earn it, and you don't earn it by doing 1 thing, 2 things, 3 things. It's by doing hundreds of things, and you get that respect, and you only get that respect for the deeds you do in the circumstances that lead you to it. And unfortunately, I've been into a few circumstances where it has led me into it. But like I said, my life's totally different. My whole physiology is different to anything that you've got, or anything most probably a lot of the people reading this will. I was born with 33 vertebrae instead of 32 vertebrae like all of you got. So I am very different. I was told I'd be in a wheelchair at 25. At 65, I still got to work now, push wheelbarrows up skips. So I am very, very different. I was blessed with that strength. I was blessed with that will, and certain things have happened in my life that led me to believe that maybe I was destined to do something more than I've done, but I've never done it, and I've never found out what it is. But I'm still above ground, and who knows, I might find it in the end. In them days, there wasn't many West Ham fans used to go away. Not like you get 3,000 now. We used to have a handful, maybe one coach, a grey-green coach, sometimes a laces coach. But what we used to do, the youngsters who I knew, I was friends with, we used to hitchhike. So on a Friday night, I would go to Scratchwood Services with them, and we'd try and ponce a lift up the motorway wherever we was going, and then the personal tickets come out, the personal vouchers, where one person went, 4 could go half price. That went down a bundle, and everyone went personal tickets and that, and you'd sell the £2 ticket for £6 and sort of like thing, and you pay for yourself for going. And it was not like where you go to the police surround you, you've got CT cameras on you all the time. You survived. You went, and you either went to the game and come home, or you didn't go at all, because you had to fight your way to the game. It wasn't a case now where you'd just get out of the train and walk, the police escorts, the cameras on you. You had to fight. And in them days, they knew where you come from by what you dressed in. The fashion like it is now is the same all over the country, but it was never like that in the old days. People from Manchester dressed totally different to people from London, and in Nottingham was different totally. So it was a case of survival. If you wanted to go to football, you had to fight, and if you didn't fight, they'd have to run, and I'm not good at running. So what we did, we stuck together, the ones that was like-minded me, and we went to football. And that was the same for every club in this country. Every club had the same problems. You went, there wasn't many of you, no escorts, nobody holding your hand, you had to do it yourself. And it's not, in a perfect world, who wants to do it? I don't want to do that. I don't want to live my life like that all the time. Confrontation, no good. It's no good. But that's what we had to do. And then obviously it went on once the personal, when the inner city trains come in, more and more people started going, so they started giving the clubs more and more tickets. And it was unbelievable. You know, you look on it, it was like if you went out on the Saturday morning and you come back at night and you was in the same condition you went out, you'd had a good day. But there was days you come back, you'd been in a battle, simple as that. And some of them were battles. There wasn't none of this slap and tickle nonsense, jumping up and down, bouncing around in the road, pointing fingers. This was hand-to-hand combat. This was fighting. This was the best against the best, you know what I mean? And what they can always say, and there's not one person watching this will not ever come up and say, I was at the front and I was the best, because none of them ever faced me. None of them. They might say it, but they never did. They never introduced themselves. But I hear so many stories, and this is why I've done the book, because quite simply, people were saying lies. They were making lies up. They're making stories to sell their books on the strength of using my name. And that's wrong. And I tried to clear it up and put a few things in just to clear things up.
One of the biggest battles you had, I read it in your book, was a Harry Cripps testimonial. Can you tell us a bit more about that, Mark?
Harry Cripps testimonial was unbelievable. We went over there. We was young, in our teens, and what I can remember the whole night was filled with hate, because West Ham fans now hate Tottenham. They go on about hate Tottenham, but for the older generation, it was always Millwall for us. I never spoke to a Millwall fan until I was 51 years old, and that sums it up. And then I got 2 mates that are Millwall fans, and they're good blokes. You know, they're quite older, not as old as me, but they're quite old. But I met them through football, my boys' football team. One his boy played for us, and both of them played for the criminal casuals team that my boys with. And it was just a night filled with hate. And after the game, in the road, I've never seen nothing like it. I saw policemen get pulled off of horses. I saw 11 times Millwall fans tried to get out of the cold blow lane in to come down the stairs, and 11 times we went back at them and backed them up the stairs 11 times until the police came and cleared it up. But it was horrendous. It was the worst I'd ever seen And I will never see anything like it again. And I just wish there'd have been footage so some of you people could actually see this. And this, you know, none of this bouncing nonsense. This was unbelievable. This was the real deal, you know. And they got a lot of people just like that. What we had, they was fiercely proud of their team, and we was fiercely proud of ours. But in them days, a lot of the West Ham fans, I felt, were joined together, looking for what I was looking for, but to be part of the family, not part of the gang, never part of the gang, because I've always been a loner, you know, always. But I liked being around these people, and they liked being around me, and it was as simple as that. But that game was unbelievable. You know, I just cannot explain to you the atmosphere, what it was like, because I've never experienced it since. This pure hatred, and they would have killed us, and we would have killed them on the night. But I mean, the police had their work cut out in them days. There was no CCTV, no mobile phones. You know what I mean? They had to be on their wits' end, and the police done well that night, because people could have got seriously hurt. It's the worst trouble I've ever seen anywhere. Even when you see all these films of Europe with them in Russia, one lot taking their shirts off and all that nonsense. No, this was like the real thing. And anyone that was there, including Millwall fans, I think they'll say the same. But that's what it was in them days. That was life. Like before me, the generations like Teddy Boys and Rockers and all that. This was my generation. My generation, my era was football. And now you move on. People have moved on. You know, that's what we all do. We still in our minds have that fire in our bellies. But you're a dinosaur if you don't move on. I was with the Marlin. I used to go with the Marlin, yeah. They were the best, and the best there was. The best for me, the best there is, the best there ever was, will be. Unbelievable people. And I was the only one from outside the manor that was in there. That was accepted. I was accepted, and I was grateful to know several of prominent people in that, and although I ain't seen them for years, they know that I have nothing but respect for them. And they made sure that a lot of West Ham fans travelled safely to games all over the country. If it wasn't for them, there'd be a lot of West Ham supporters of my age that be walking around now with their noses where their ears are. Simple as that. They were good, the best. The I.C.F. I was never in. I've never said that, although I've been put in books. Cass has used me in the books and said, like, you know, I was in there, and me and Cass are great mates, and I was never there. It was never me. It was never my group. I was the wrong generation to start with. I was a lot older than them. They were younger than me, and but it's good. It makes good reading to say that I was nicked in the I.C.F. trials where we stood trial for 16 weeks in the High Court, which was found not guilty because, quite simple, although they had me down as the general, number one in the list of people they wanted to bang up, they had no evidence against me because I didn't organise nothing. I never sat around a table with anyone, and I was never part of it. But when there was trouble, certain people looked for me to help them, and I did. That's the truth. I was never part of the I.C.F, although it says it in the books. I've said it so many times to people that they still love to pen me in with this group. And what was this group? I remember going to games where West Ham fans were singing I.C.F, I.C.F. All of them. Was all 3,000 people there I.C.F? No, of course there wasn't. But that's life. That's life. You don't believe nothing you're told, and only half of what you see, and you might survive. If you believe everything you're told, no chance. I wanted to go and watch Russia, West Ham play in Tbilisi, and I'd used up all my holiday where I was working, and the fella knew I wanted to go, and he said, "Look, if I let you go, He said, everyone will want days off like it. And I understood what he was saying. So I thought to myself, well, what do I do? Backache, he won't believe that. Cold, flu, no, he won't believe that. So I thought, oh no, it's got to be something longer. So like an idiot, I stuck my coat on, I stuck 6 paracetamols down my neck, got me £2 club hammer and whacked my wrist. I went like that and I thought, I don't know, don't feel not too bad. Perhaps I should give it another one. So I'll give it another welt. And I thought, oh yeah, that hurts. Anyway, I went up the hospital and they x-rayed it and I'd done it in 6 places. You know what I mean? I'd give it some right willy. And I thought, oh, what have you done, you idiot? So I've gone back, given him the certificate, told him I fell down the stairs. He had to believe it. He said, that's Andy, that's happened and this. And I said, yeah, it is, isn't it really? So I went to Russia, got all the players to sign the cast in Moscow airport. We went to Moscow first and then down to Tbilisi. And I only wanted 2 weeks off. I ended up with 27 weeks on full pay. And 2 days from the end of the 27, I put my notice in and started working myself. Well, I actually was working 4 weeks before the plaster come off. I was crazy paving a bloke's drive for him with one hand, and I was mixing up the sand and cement with one hand with the shovel, which is quite difficult to do. And but I thought, so I'll earn a few quid while I'm out, and so I've done that.
Have you still got the cast of all the signatures on it?
I did have the cast at home, but I don't know where it is. With my Mrs. Spine's things that she don't think are like, she'll get rid of it, you know what I mean? And I won't ever see it again. I won't know she's got rid of it. She's sniding behind me back and gets rid of stuff. What's this rubbish she's got here? It'll be gone, you know? No, I don't blame her. I'm quite a messy person, so, and she's a very tidy person, so I just have a minute now and again.
That's incredible, that, isn't it? I don't think I'll ever have the bottle to do that. No. As much as I'd love to go and see West.
What do you term this bottle?
I don't know. I mean, I've got quite a high pain threshold, but I don't think I could go through with it, so to speak.
1972, West Ham playing Nottingham Forest away. We'd hitchhiked, got a lift in a lorry that was carrying a caravan on the back. The builder wanted it for a tee-up, and there was 8 of us. Some of us got in the caravan and some were in the cab, and he dropped us off on the motorway on the cross between the Leicestershire and Nottingham borders. So we crossed the road, we saw the sign Nottingham, 10 miles. So we walked the 10 miles. I think it took us 3 hours, 3 and a bit hours. And when we got into Nottingham, which at that time was a very tough place to go, everyone was knackered. You know, you'd had no sleep. You'd been in a lorry. I'd had a caravan with a hole in the roof and newspaper on me. You know what I mean? And they come across the bridge. There was altogether then 11 of us. I was out on my feet. They was coming down the road. We'd have had no chance. So I said to the boys, "You go, and I'll try and do my best." None of them wanted to go, but they did, and I thought I could blag it. So what I did, I got in the middle of the road, and I walked towards the 400 Nottingham Forest fans that were coming across the bridge. And as I walked towards them, they opened up, and I got right nearly to the back, and then all of a sudden they come in, and I got strapped from the back, say half dozen, 8 of them. Nothing serious, still upright, you know what I mean? But 2 of them come up to me and said, you know, "It's the bravest thing we've ever seen. Come with us." And I went with them, and they took me in the Trent end, which was their end at the time, and bought me a drink, bought me something else to eat. But I was like all night, no sleep, 10-mile walk, you know what I mean? I'd had it. But the others got away. So the job was done. And that's simple. That's bottle. That's bottle. The bottle is to face the things that you hate the most, the things that really bother you. And I've always had that because I've never had no fear, because I've never felt I've been worth anything. I've never felt that, what's the point of me doing something? Nobody cares about me. So what should I do? So that's what I did. You find that in you. When the shit hits the fan, you find that strength inside you. Everybody's got it, but it takes the bringing out. it takes the bringing out of what you feel. And for me, I was never loved as a kid. I was never, at them days, it was the early days at West Ham, I never had the respect that I do now, which is fantastic from great people. And like I say, you earn that respect. You earn it. Nobody gives it to you. But that day I got away with it. Few slaps. You know what I mean? Job done. Gary Firmager had a petition that got thousands of names on it because quite simply I got pulled in when the I.C.F swoops. I think they called it Operation Own Goal. I stood trial for 16 weeks and 2 days, 16 weeks and 2 days altogether, and was found not guilty. And the first day they come round my house and raided it, which was on national television for 3 days in a row. The letter was in the post the next day, and that I found hard because it's like you having a sister or brother and they said they don't want you no more. That's how I felt. But you get older and you get a bit wiser, and I certainly have done that, even though it's been a bit slow getting there. But no, that was the most hurtful thing for me. Not getting nicked, although I did suffer a bit with that. I was stuck in Brixton prison. I was in plaster because I'd broke my leg playing football before they arrested me. But they sent 9 police round my house to arrest me, bloke on crutches. And they could have sent a woman round on a push bike. I'd have gone with her. You know what I mean? And then they want to get funny in the van with me on the way up to the police station. And when I started throwing the crutch around in the back of the van, they weren't all that happy with that. So you can have it 2 ways. We can either go there gently or we can go there rough. Which way do you want it? You know what I mean? I was quite happy they nicked me. I'd sit there. I'm done. You know what I mean? And they took me to North Woolwich police station, and then they mucked my girlfriend Sarah, telling her I was East Ham. She go, East Ham, I know he's down North Woolwich. They're going backwards and forwards because they think it's a game. You know what I mean? And in a way, it's a bit like law. If you're in a court, you've got your barristers, your QCs, and the judge, and the prosecutor, and it's a competition. It's like a game. They play against each other, and the police try playing games with us, and you play games with the police, and it's all competition. And at the end of the day, I don't believe that the police should have mucked up telling my girlfriend going here, there and everywhere where I am. Wrong. They've got me, so what's the big deal? Which they cheered in East Ham police station when they nicked me. They cheered. All the police was in a room, and anyone who thought they'd called God knows who. But when we walked in, they cheered. You know, unbelievable. Bloke on crutches. Which is it was so unreal. It was, you know, you couldn't make it up. But I had a great brief, and the stories come out, and we found out that they was lying, and they falsified the evidence, and we had it tested with ESDA, and we walked. We had a couple of people with us that, well, 5 of them I didn't even know out of the 11. And I was supposed to be in this gang sitting around the table plotting with them. I didn't even know them. I said, what are you here for? He said, I'm with you. And I ain't got a clue who you are. You know, we had one bloke that was as silly as arseholes that was on the verge of getting a right walloping because of his attitude. He was a silly boy. You're in there and you're fighting for your life. They wanted to do us for 10 years. I took notes. I had a graph. I was working down all the good things they said about everyone, all the bad things. Some of them sat there reading the paper, not listening. No. I listened. So that when I got my time to go in against the prosecutor, I was more than ready. But he wasn't ready for me, I'm afraid, and then the case got dropped. And it's simple as that, because what they do when they get you in court, they want you to say a one-word answer. They ask you the question, yes or no. You say no, and then they go to the second one where they want to get you on. But I give them a full answer. They get war and peace off of me. One thing they do, they go home, they have a bad wrist with the writing. You know, it's as simple as that. Nothing's easy. I make nothing easy for anyone.
So how did it feel when the case was dropped?
Disappointing, because my dad died during the case. He was in hospital, and I couldn't go and visit him like I could have, should have done, because I had to be there. From where I live here, it takes me about an hour and a half to get to every day. We used to be banged up in the cell beforehand, come up, and You know, I used to go and visit him on the way home. It's a long day, you know. He was in St George's in Hornchurch. You know that, didn't you? The worst hospital in the world, as far as I was concerned. And that was a bit was hurtful, and I just would have loved him to have been there and seen that what they arrested me for, I didn't do. They fabricated the evidence. I didn't have no police record. I've not got a police record. I know a lot of people are watching say, no police record. I haven't got a police record. Most probably some vicar somewhere's got more of a record than me. You know what I mean? And that's it. They just tried it on because I know everybody. Everyone knows me. People recognise me. If I was 5'8", they wouldn't have recognised me. Simple as that. 16 weeks in the High Court is it's a lot on you, especially the first weeks when I forget how many weeks it was, 8 or 10 weeks, might be 12 weeks. They was giving their evidence against us, and they was pulling up all these people that were coming in, and we had one that said I climbed up a 12-foot wall and jumped down. Well, how can I climb up a 12-foot wall, boys? Come on, let's get it right. I need a ladder to start with. And then she sees me jump down. Fucking hell, what am I, spider? You know what I mean? I couldn't believe it. And then we had them all coming in. West Ham had a few people that come in and said that I did this and I did that. And but to be fair, we used to look at the jury, and body language says it all. And what I've always done is, because my mum was a bit deaf, I've been a good lip reader, and I just used to watch them, what they used to say, and I used to look over and see their reactions and what they were saying to each other, and I could read it, you know. And unbelievable. It's a lot of pressure on you for sure. But it was another battle, and like I say, I was prepared to do the paperwork and do the sorting out of who was, you know, doing well and who wasn't. It was a hard time. I wouldn't recommend it on anybody. And you know what they were saying we did, you'd see on any Friday night outside of a club or a pub, and the bloke would mostly get a slap on the wrist. But they want, because it was a vote catcher under Law and Order, under Margaret Thatcher. That's what it was. It was political. We was nicked politically because, in all fairness, trouble at football was escalating and it was getting out of hand. You know, you had the scassers at it all the time, and you know, well, let's get it right. We know what they're like. So I couldn't believe it. I loved walking out the station. I used to love the smell. Let's get it right, it did stink round here, didn't it? You know what I mean? But I used to like walking through the market some days if I was early. I'm always early wherever I go. I used to walk through the market. I used to look at that fish stall they had in down the market that sold all the fish. Like, it was unbelievable fish like you've never seen in your lifetime. You know, fish with 3 eyes and all that. You know what I mean? It was unbelievable. And I used to love going there, just looking at the different things, the different fruit and vegetables that we didn't even know about. You know, I've now come into the country because we've got a lot of people, and I used to walk down the road and I talk to people. Whenever you go, you know somebody. You talk to them. The programme seller, Gary Furman, just selling his magazine, and I reckon that I used to get stopped from that half a mile from the station to the ground 50 times every home game. I'd have 50 conversations. And that night, the last night when I was the last person out on the ground on the Saturday, and the last person out the ground on the Tuesday. It was the last night. Terrible time. Right.
You alright, mate?
Yeah.
Do you want a minute?
No, I'm alright. No. I walked home after that game, the night game, and I got home about 4 in the morning. I walked to Canning Town, got a cab from Canning Town to Victoria to get the train, and I never wanted the night to end, because I knew it was the end. Now, we ain't got a title yet, but hopefully we'll be out before Christmas or just after. It's quite a big book. It's not a small one. It's not one of these football ones like the one I did before. It's not like some of them I've read what they've done. You know, the He-Man books. It's a story basically of my life, with a lot of what I've said to you, but a lot more, and then a lot of other chapters on other things that have gone on over West Ham and general life as a West Ham fan, or life as a football fan, life as a person whose life's been very, very different to other people's, and how I've still kept that passion and love for them, you know, for the West Ham team, West Ham supporters. And I wanted to put people in the position I was in, you know, when I was in that graveyard. I wanted them to feel how they would feel. And the only way you can really do it is by explaining the coldness of being in the rain on your own, nowhere to go, no one to love you, no one to care for you. Very difficult, very, very difficult, you know what I mean? And what would you do? What would you do in my position? You know, the way I was. I had no options. I was never going to make a brain surgeon, that's for sure. You know, I had to do what I was good at. I was a builder, I was strong. I was a kid. I was a fighter. And it's led me to the life I've got now. And I'm contented. I'm contented. Still not right. Still psychologically struggle from day to day. But like I said, I've got a fantastic girl, 2 great kids who I'm immensely proud of. One's a school teacher, like I say, and the kids love him. And they've all got personalities, big personalities. And we live a very happy life, you know. And you try and do the best you can. That's what I've always done. But like I said, I shouldn't really be here now. I'm struggling, and sometimes life kicks you in the arse, and I've been kicked in the arse in life a few times, but I'm still here. I'm still battling, and I'm still nobody's mug. And that's the way I like it. Because when I die, I don't want people to say he was an hard man, he was this and that. I just want them to say I was a decent human being, and I've done the best I could with what I had. And there's a lot of people who look back and they say, oh, I was a real greedy bastard, I never give anything to anybody, I never done anything for anybody. There's a few of them. I know 3 of them. But at the end of the day, there's a lot like that. And I've never been like that. People will tell you, if I got £1, I'd give you 90 pence of it. And if you was in the shit, I'd never leave you down, even if I didn't know you. I just hope that people read it, and the people that have put me down, the ones who think I'm a fruitcake, might look at it and think, hold on, this bloke ain't as bad as what people made him out. But it will shock. It will shock people. And that's what all I wanted to do really, was to give somebody a proper read, because I love reading books myself, a proper read, and something to make them think. And maybe not even just think about themselves, but maybe think about other people that might have been in the same position that I was when I was a kid. But hopefully it'll be a good book.
What does West Ham United mean to you?
Everything. Everything. The air that I breathe, the food that I eat, and the drink I drink. West Ham's everything. Always has been, and always will be. Except for my family, obviously. West Ham means everything to me. I don't think no one would ever feel the way I felt over my life about it. And like I say, it's not the team, it's not the board, it's the fans. You know, it's the fans that mean the world to me. And the response I get from them is unbelievable. Unbelievable. You know, sometimes I think, I don't deserve this. You know, what I get off of them. They are the best of the best. You know, they always have been. And they always will be. And I've seen the rest. And I'm happy with what they are. And I'm happy the way I am with them. They're great people. And I just want them to get that success that they deserve.